All right. Hey, guys. How you doing tonight?
Hello.
Hey, Timm.
Hey, doing great.
Good. Well, welcome to another night. Thanks a lot for joining us. We just have a whole bunch of people here just for a casual hangout. But I want to go ahead and make sure we introduce everybody so everybody knows who we're talking to. So first of all, right here we have Estefania and Arnel. Hi, guys.
Hi.
How you doing? Thank you for joining us.
Good, thank you. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, so Arnel, or actually Estefania, I'll start with you real quick. Just tell us a little bit about what you do in the gaming industry.
Yeah, so I'm a board game designer. I've started my first game about 3 years ago. It's called Popcats Fighter, which if you can see the banner back there, very casually up there, no big deal.
We had no planning at all whatsoever.
Yeah, no.
I
didn't know we were supposed to bring banners.
Yeah, it's just that old thing.
Well, I'll show you right here. So here is Estefania's Twitter page. So you can check this out with her game right there. And how's the design coming along so far, Estefania?
It's coming on really good. So a little story on that. I started the game about 3 years ago. I did a Kickstarter and it didn't work. And then I had a year off from the game. And then I started picking up again about a year and a half ago. And during these past like 3-4 months, it really polished into something that I'm like, okay, this is like getting to a real solid place that I'm happy with.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's been really nice. The people's feedback are like, can I buy it right now? Like this is awesome. I've, never seen something like this and stuff like that.
Play testing it everywhere too, like Seattle.
Yeah, I play test in like all these kinds of gaming groups like 3 or 4 times a week. So it's been a lot of fun, but yeah, that's exactly what I'm working on right now. And I'm happy to next year have it up on Kickstarter again. So we'll see.
Very nice. Yeah, and play testing, that's the key, right? Just got to make sure.
Lots of
play testing. All right, and Arnel, tell us a little bit about you.
I am currently doing all the art for said game. So we started the artwork for that at the same time, around 3 years ago. But I'm doing the 2020 art pass of the game, kind of just improving things, making things look prettier, all that stuff.
Yeah. And as you guys can see, here is Arnel's art. He is absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Sorry, I had to jump in. Yeah, Arnel's art is phenomenal. Just look at this.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to play a prototype of Popcat Fighter.
Right.
About was it 2 years ago, a year ago?
Yeah, about 2 years ago. Yeah.
I mean, the picture's worth 1,000 words, right? So that was just amazing stuff.
Yeah, fantastic.
Great.
Keep going. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
It's funny that this latest iteration of the game, we introduced a playboard, and that playboard took me like a month or so to finish because I basically did a bunch of our little chubby cat characters, but all of them were like friends and like family characters that I kind of hinted to from like popular stuff like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and all that stuff.
How many cats did we count? Like
I don't know.
60 cats in the board game.
Cats.
Yeah, that's
wow.
so many.
Yeah,
they're all so cute though.
Besides that, I do like the occasional freelance job. I've actually done a lot of freelance work for a comic shop here in town, Maximum Comics.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Books, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, the 3 Las Vegas people are like, oh, wow, Maximum Comics. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Isn't that awesome, Ruel and Julie?
Right.
Yeah.
Me and Julie are like, yeah, that's great.
Sure.
Well, thank you, Arnel. And Julie back with us again. Hello, Julie.
Yes. Hi. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, go ahead and just tell the folks about you and what you do.
Sure. So I recently started streaming, and I've been streaming Animal Crossing, but specifically some recreations of board games within Animal Crossing, as well as some playthroughs of Cat Sudoku, which is up there on my page. And yeah, I've just been playing lots of games recently. Trying to get more board games in, as always, right? I always feel like there's never enough time to play board games. So just hitting some of those favorites this past week. But yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, very good. So yeah, and Julie does a lot of different type of games. You also do with the Animal Crossing, correct?
Yeah, so within the game, there's an element of creation, right, that you can do, and so I've taken some of the real life board games like Codenames, etc., and kind of just created them within Animal Crossing. So it's like Gameception a little bit going on in there. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
We're gonna do creator code later, Julie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've just been, trying that out and then seeing where the streams take me in terms of where I want to go next, So whether I want to play board games through Tabletop Simulator or if I want to continue down that path of Animal Crossing or real live board games with some friends or what I want to do. So we're kind of thinking of what the next step is. But yeah.
Nice. Very good. Good to hear it. And we got Chris back with us again. Hello, Chris.
Howdy, howdy. Yeah.
How you doing
so I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Got nothing to complain about in life, except for I've got nothing to complain about life outside of this house.
Yeah.
You've got the same complaint we all do, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, so tell us about you, Chris. Go ahead. What are you doing? Or what do you do?
Sure. So my wife Wendy and I do a podcast together called Meeple Overboard, and we've been doing the show for 3.5 years now, which is a ton of fun. We have a little YouTube channel as well where we do some playthroughs and stuff. And so we're a half-hour podcast. We try and stick to that as best we can. Sometimes, time gets away from you. But the half hour is the perfect length of time for a commute to work. I need a new pitch. So, for doing a load of dishes,
There you go.
Well, that's going to be on the time that way, so people on their way to work listen to your podcast. Really good. And also, just let them all know what else you do, Chris, because you also do like YouTube, and you do a whole bunch of other stuff too, right?
Yeah, so for Meeple Overboard, we also have a YouTube channel as well. So we've been doing a few more playthroughs recently. On there, I have a little sideshow called CNC Board Game Factory, where my friend Cam and I are going to, we're pitching game ideas and developing them, and we're going to, try and make a game and try and be half as successful as Estefania. So
I know that's right. Rocking along.
The secret, I think, is more cats.
Yeah.
There it is.
There you go.
There it is.
We thought we could keep the secret, but yeah.
See,
Yeah,
people think
we're all original, and then we're like, oh my god, there's like a plethora of like.
See, people think CNC Board Game Factory. The CNC stands for Chris and Cam, the two hosts of the show. It's really for cute cats.
Yes, there it is.
There you go.
Nice. And I'm sure you guys will be hearing mine. I'm sure she'll make an appearance tonight. The world's loudest cat. And last but certainly not least, we have the James Brown of the gaming. He is the hardest working man.
Yes.
Thank you, Tim.
We got Ruel over there.
Thank you, Tim. I don't know how to live up to that. I mean, do I say I feel good or?
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm so happy to be here again, Tim. Thank you for the invite, and it's always lovely hanging out with you and all of our friends. My name's Ruel Gaviola. I podcast, I write, I live stream, do all the things board game related. Tim is putting up my website here, my blog, which I don't pay enough attention to, but that's why I'm glad he decided to highlight it, because you can see some of the things that we do. I do there with the double clicks. I was in one of their music videos, Wardlings of Reverse Hollow. That is an ongoing Wardlings campaign, which is 5e compatible. I live stream with Renegade there. I recently just started a bi-weekly column at I Slay the Dragon, where I look at recent board games that I've played, and I live stream with my family on Twitch, and that's my favorite thing that I do, because I get to hang out with my wife and our daughter, play games, and just hang out on Twitch and be silly, do fun things. And that's what board gaming is all about, right? Connecting with your friends and family. And even though we can't do a lot of it these days in real life, at least we have the internet to provide that forum for us. So thanks again, Tim, for having me. This is great.
No, absolutely. Oh, and speaking of the internet, just yesterday, I was very fortunate. I was able to join Bezier Games, Ted Allspack, in a game, like a test thing of the new Extreme Werewolf.
Oh.
Yeah, that was run by one of they got these werewolf groups The biggest one in the country is, I think, San Francisco Bay Area. They got like 1,000 members or something.
Oh my goodness.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
It is a lot of people. And then in Atlanta, they just passed like 800 or something. So the guy who leads the Atlanta one was the moderator. And it was fantastic. It was really nice. It was like the first sort of virtual game that I've done online. So it was kind of a new thing to me. But you guys have probably done them, right? A lot of virtual games?
I haven't, not of Werewolf. Like, how was the experience, Tim? Did you like it as much as like an actual game of Werewolf?
I'm super curious too.
Yeah.
Well, so the one thing about it is which I found, which of course you're probably not going to do when you're in real life, is I was taking notes on paper,
Right.
Because and you can't really read body language and stuff, so it's a little bit different just seeing a video screen of a person's face, but it was still enjoyable. It was still fun. It was just good to hang out with like a good group of people because again, we're social animals, right? So it's just nice to be with people. So it was good in that aspect.
Cool.
So when you say that, like some of these groups are hundreds of people, do you mean they break out into smaller groups then, or are people playing like 100?
No, it's just like a meetup group, right? I mean, a meetup group has 2,000 people, but on a meetup you're going to get 6.
And you break into tables. Yeah. Okay. That's just making sure.
That sounds insane, Chris.
Right.
Yeah, I know. So, but that was good. How about anybody else?
Cool.
Did you play any games online?
So, like you said,
No, go ahead.
Estefania, please go ahead.
Oh, sure. I was like, all I've been doing is online is tabletop simulator, but like play testing people's games. So basically, what's gonna come out next year, kind of thing. That's what I've been really looking. And I played with people all over the place, and some really interesting stuff coming out that I'm like, I wish I would have thought of this first. Oh my god, this is awesome. But it's been really fun to really connect with that because before the pandemic, I didn't really do tabletop simulator or online playing like that. And when it hit, I was like, well, I can't go see anyone and I need to play test the game somehow. And then once I got into it, I basically like dove in and now I'm like a mod in like 2 different groups and like I help out and I'm just like really diving into being part of the community and getting to know people. And
That's awesome.
So that, that's been really nice about the one thing about, this whole thing.
Yeah.
So the board, because that's become like a really big thing now, right? People using
really
tabletop simulator because they just wasn't just this past weekend, the Unpub online?
Yeah, I was there too.
Yep.
Yeah, it was really fun. I got to play with lots of people there too, and I had a reserve slot, and then there was like open play testing, which anyone basically with a badge, which was like $5 to get a badge, you could go in and then just play people's games or bring your own. So that was a really interesting experience because I had never been to Unpub or done an online play testing one on Discord. So that was a very interesting, but it worked really well, honestly. Like I don't know if that was the exception or if that was the rule. But whatever it was, Non-Pub did a great job.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
Great. Do you find the process, is it, I don't know, it's like, do you just set up the game and teach it and then just sort of watch how people react to the game? Or are you helping them along to learn how to play it? And how different is it than like a real life play test?
So that's an interesting question because it is definitely different than when it's in person. And I don't know which one is necessarily better. It's nicer to see people in front of you and kind of see their reactions, but I can still hear their like very subtle noises. Oh. You know what I mean? Like, those things, like I'm really hearing out for them because I don't have any other visuals than that.
Yeah.
Right.
But so doing it on Tabletop Simulator, it's a little harder to teach because I don't know what everyone's seeing. Someone's hands like somewhere else and it's all distracted. So I try to use that tab where like it does the arrows all the time.
Yep.
So if you ever like see me or if I'm ever like teaching you, you'll see this like 50 tabs all the time because I'm trying to like point out of what you have to look at.
Yeah.
But it's been really useful. It's
awesome.
Been a great tool to teach people and to show off the whole game and especially when I have to change cards all the time, like change a couple of words. It's just upload instead of printing, cutting.
I know, right?
Measuring.
In terms of cards, you could just be like, hey, could you do this card? I was like, sure. And then I was finish it, and then just plug it into Tabletop Simulator, and
Yeah.
that's it, which is
Nice.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I was
that's
gonna ask that.
one thing. I was sorry, Tim. I was curious about the whole process. I don't know the process as far as like
the process. I see.
like do you upload? I mean, no, that was great. But do you upload your game? Like, is it like do you upload a card and then how does that work?
So yeah, there's a couple of ways. I think I do it probably the long way because you could upload like a sheet of all the images of your cards, and it just like does a deck for
It
you.
automates it for you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
But
cool.
I don't do
That is
that.
cool.
I upload one card at a time because I don't have that many cards, and I just like the
Right.
control of it, and it just seems easier to me than doing a whole sheet with all the cards when I can just upload the images one by one.
Right.
It has a lot of useful tools. It has already like preset tokens as well. So if you have like pawns or like coins or all those kind of like regular tokens that we see all the time, right?
Yeah,
Cubes, whatever it is.
Yep.
it's pretty powerful. It's crazy powerful.
Yeah, I don't use it to the best of its ability, but it really has a lot of power. And the cool thing about it too is that it lets you save different
Versions of the
like
game.
different versions of the game or different games. So I can be like, oh, let's play 1 versus 1. And then we're like, oh, let's play 2 versus 2. And I can just upload it again. Like it's a different room kind of thing. So that makes it really easy. And potentially you could have all kinds of games, which I've played with people who have like 10, 15 games loaded. And they're like, what do you want to play? And we're like, okay. And it just uploads really fast. Like the nice part is like, we don't have to break down the table and set it up again.
Yes.
It's just like
Yes.
2 minutes to upload, and we're like, oh, this is nice.
Do you use that at all, Julie? Tabletop Simulator?
Yeah, so I'm actually the Cat Sudoku from Tate and Sunrise Tornado is actually the Kickstarter was for Tabletop Simulator. And so, but even before that, I'd had experience with it. It takes some getting used to because you don't have your hands to be there, and it can feel kind of clunky and a little like weird and awkward when you're trying to move pieces, and like to try to place things in the right spot can be a little hard. But yeah, I mean, once you get used to it though, it definitely is like a very powerful tool. And again, the convenience of like just setting something up and then saving it at a certain point if you want to come back to it later, or like, again, cleanup is just like, nothing, obviously it's not there. And then just for fun, half the time as like quote unquote cleanup, we'll like flip the table and like, so, it's always fun. But yeah, it's definitely a really great tool. Some amazing stuff can be done in Tabletop Simulator. So
Yeah, because
You always
It's buggy though.
Sometimes it's buggy.
It's so buggy.
Really?
yeah,
We love it. Yeah.
there's so many, like when you start off using it, no, it's not intuitive. You're trying to remember what
Yeah.
buttons do. Right click this, hotkey this button or something. You're just trying to rotate a card, and you end up rotating the whole view of the table.
Yep.
Yeah.
Again.
Again.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
because there is a
question-
big learning curve, right? Oh, I'm sorry, Chris. Go ahead.
My follow-up question for Julie was, which is a more powerful board game prototyping engine then? Is Tabletop Sim or Animal Crossing?
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, Animal Crossing has many, 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 many limitations, right? But yeah, Tabletop Simulator for sure, obviously. But yeah, it's, I haven't tried any of the other ones though. Like I haven't tried Tabletopia, and some of the other like bigger virtual board game programs out there. Have you guys done anything with those?
I've tried Tabletopia, and I think I slightly prefer that. But honestly, over Tabletop Simulator and Tabletopia, I like Board Game Arena
Okay.
because almost everything's automated. Like it knows the rules. Like if I try to move a piece somewhere that's not supposed to be there, it'll stop me from doing that.
Oh, wow.
It keeps track of my score for me, and when I go online to play a game, that's how I prefer to play. Because if I'm on Tabletop Simulator, I'm right clicking, I'm left clicking, I don't know what's going on. My pieces are flying around. My piece is under a card, I can't get to it. It's clunky for me, and I understand the appeal of it, and I do use it on occasion. But given a choice, I would rather play something where a lot of the stuff is automated and just like a video game or like a video game adaptation of a board game.
Yeah.
That's just my preference. Yeah.
Yeah, because Estefania and Arnel, I know these. I don't play video games, right? So I don't do any stuff like that online. And Board Game Arena, I've only done. I did Russian Railroads by mistake. I played, but I thought it was fantastic. I love it. But the interface was great. I did Can't Stop and Six Nibs. I think those are the only 2 games I've done, and that's what we were doing like in the early days of the COVID to try to do stuff. But I do play Hearts regularly on that. But the thing that I like the most, and I don't know if they do this in the other games, is the time, and you get penalized as far as your whatever good, bad, like if you like leave or don't do anything. That's what I like the best, because that stops AP. It stops people from, rage quitting or doing whatever. So that's what I really like.
Yeah, I think it's is it called reputation or whatever on there. I think it's your reputation. Like yeah. So if you do things that are bad, then you get penalized or whatever. Tim, I'm a regular player of backgammon on BGA, so maybe we should.
Are you really?
Yeah, I love backgammon. So
do you? I got the Las Vegas backgammon group at Meepleville. They come.
Oh my god!
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So awesome. I love it. Oh my god.
Wait, so Tim, from what I'm understanding of this, you must be a Hearts master if you're causing that many people to rage quit.
This guy I play a lot doesn't mean I win a lot.
That's really well.
Do you? Because again, that's I don't know about like a lot of you guys, but for me, when I was a kid, I was that Hearts, backgammon, cribbage, chess. I was the classic games, like just hardcore. So any card game I've always played my whole life.
Yeah. I came to backgammon. I came to backgammon later in life. Actually, it was just one of those things where I played poker, and then like when I was at poker nights, buddies of mine sometimes would be bored and like, why don't we try backgammon? We heard it's a good game to gamble with. Let's if we're not playing poker, let's play backgammon on the side, and that's how I learned backgammon. But I'm sorry, Chris, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no. That's interesting. I wasn't the kid who grew up playing a lot of the classic card games. I was the kid who had like a Windows 95 computer that came with like Hearts, and I was trying to learn it by just clicking things. And I was like, this game doesn't make sense. I played a higher card. Wait, I won with a spade last time. Why can't I win with a spade this time?
Then you go back to Minesweeper.
Yeah.
I was going to say Minesweeper,
Yeah, where you really don't know what's going on. Right?
No, I really don't.
Right?
Click. Oh, done. Click.
And what's funny about that, Chris, is I've met a lot of people because Hearts and Solitaire, and there were a couple other games that were like the standard games that came with the computer, right? With like your interface or whatever. And people are like, I play Hearts all the time on my computer. When they play in live, does somebody have something in the background? Oh, there was... Oh,
there's like a little bit of a rattle sound or something.
That's what I hear too.
Yeah.
I don't. You don't have anything.
Somebody's
Okay.
sound.
There it goes. Somebody just turned it on. What was it?
It was me then. Sorry. I can keep myself. It's we have like a machine in here that's kind of just buzzing a little bit.
Okay.
So if it's picking it up, I'll just keep myself on mute till I say something.
What I was saying is I've noticed that people who've played it online, playing in life is completely different, like with real people and thinking, because the AI on the internet or the AI on that computer wasn't very good.
For sure.
Yeah. You know what's funny too, Tim, is like I remember people telling me, "Oh yeah, I've played mahjong on the computer," and like, "Oh okay, great." And then it was always like that, not real mahjong, right? Not the one where you
it was like the matching game, right?
Yeah, it's the matching game. Like this is not mahjong.
Yeah.
Wait a second, Ruel, are you really like an old lady in real life? Because this is
backgammon.
Absolutely.
You have a bridge club, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, don't talk about my bridge club now, Chris. That's actually one game I've never played. I would love to play bridge. It's a trick-taking game. Is that correct?
It is.
Yeah.
But you're in partnerships, right?
Correct. And we have so that's the good. I mean, of course, things are messed up, but the Las Vegas Bridge Club and Las Vegas Bridge World and the Summerlin Bridge Club both closed down, and I got them both. So we've made an agreement. We've got a contract. They're going to be there. That's why they're going to be there during the day, though, from like 12 to 4 when it comes back.
Right.
So I've got the Bridge Club too. But yes, Bridge is the Cadillac of trick-taking games. It's phenomenal. It's really, really good.
It's one of those I've never tried. I tried
Me
reading the
neither.
rules for it, and I was like, "Oh, there's a little bit more to this game than like high card wins." Kind of, it's
There is. There's conventions.
Yeah.
People talk, and the thing about it is like when I was, again, like I said, I played all the classics, and I was one of those people literally growing up where I was like, you know what, I know every game in existence. Whether it was Monopoly, Stratego, Battleship. I just thought, if you walk you walk into like, what was it, Toys R Us or any of those game stores, I know them all. I knew everything. The only game I thought I didn't know, and I really mean this, because I just, how people are, you think you know everything, was Bridge, because in the comics, they used to have Omar Sharif on Bridge, like a little article. And I was like, that's the only game I don't know how to play. So when I was in my mid-20s, or maybe early, no, I was about 23, 24, I was like, you know what? Since that's the only game I don't know how to play, I'm going to learn how to play Bridge. And I did.
How do you go about learning Bridge, especially back in the day? Did you just like find a club, or did you get a book, or?
Yep, I found a club and got books. I found somebody, because this was when I was an air traffic controller. I found somebody to play with me, a partner who wanted to do it, learn it also. And we would go in the club, and all the old ladies and all the old people would love us because we were like their grandkids, right? Because we
These youngins.
Yeah.
we were literally, by 40, 50 years, the youngest people in the place. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And I was always like, I was always like, I don't know if I was intimidated or just the fact that there was like north, south, west, and east. I'm like, what? Okay, I have no idea what's like with the directions and stuff. Like,
oh yeah, it is. There is a lot, but it's fantastic. But if you like trick taking, because I know Chris actually, him and Wendy finished the crew, right?
Whoa, you guys finished it?
Yeah, we did.
Oh
All finished missions. So yeah, we finished the crew. I mean, it helps when you have infinite time. So, and I do think 2 players is a little bit easier, but it's still tricky. So you play 2 players. You hand a 13 cards each, and then there's a like half face up central stack that whoever is kind of leading for that round gets to play a card from that stack as well. So you're kind of like. I didn't explain that perfectly, but there's like you're controlling this like other stack of cards, kind of as simulating a third player. But because it's a cooperative game, it works really well. So you're puzzling. So okay, we both see this much information over here. I know it's in my hand. I have no idea what's in your hand, and you have to make those objectives and stuff. It's really good.
Nice. I just played the first 3 games with Michelle and Lauren. We loved it. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to play all 50 missions. It was the first 3 were great. And I was curious about that because I was curious about the 2-player variant, like how the third player worked. So is it like some cards face up and then some are like face down below them, or?
Yeah, and once you play one of the face up ones on top, then you reveal the one below it.
Okay.
So sometimes you have an objective card and you're like, well, it's not in my hand, and you're trying to hint towards your partner, be like, hey, just trying to think out, do you have the yellow 4? Do you have the yellow 4? But it's one of those, it's one of the last cards you flip over. You're like, oh my gosh, we needed that. So it's a very satisfying 2-player game, I would say.
And so, Chris, after playing all 50 missions, what's your overall impression of the game, and is it replayable?
It's so good. So we played all 50, and then we just put a playthrough video of it actually on our YouTube channel, Meeple Overboard on YouTube. So
well done.
There you go.
So for what we did, because we're like, well, a lot of people know about it, but not everyone knows that it's really good at 2 players. And so we filmed specifically for the 2 of us playing, and we took a random like early mission. I think it was like mission 4 or 5 or something, and then we played mission like 34 or something like that. And we showed 2 different games of it at different challenge levels. And replaying the first few missions, we're like, oh man, this like literally all just was so easy. It came together, once you have learned it so much, because by the later missions, it's very clever. Like the fun challenges that it throws your way. It's not just like, here's more objective cards. There's ones in there where you're like, I didn't see this coming. This has nothing to do with that. It has to deal with who can win the first and the last trick, and who can, how many tricks people can win in total. And it's great.
Yeah, nice. You know what I find amazing, especially like a game like that's got 50 missions. When they designed it, Chris, since you did the whole thing, I've only done up to like 28, 27, I think, somewhere around there. Mm-hmm. How they really did each level, like really took like the right amount of growth, or I can't, lack of a better term. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So well, yeah.
Yeah, you didn't hit like 26 was easy, 27 was impossible. You know, it was
Right, yeah.
yeah, it's really incremental, so it's really satisfying to play through the whole thing.
Okay.
That's cool.
I can't wait to continue our game. It's so good.
Yeah. What
Good.
about anything else?
Good.
You anybody else play trick-taking games?
I can't think of any.
There's
No, I can't think of any.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, we just started the crew. Other trick-taking games.
Well,
I've
Fox in
played.
the Forest, right? You do a lot
Fox
of
and
Yeah.
Fork. Yeah, that's
there's the new one of that too, right? The duet.
yeah. I haven't
Um,
I want to
yeah,
try that one. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet, but I've heard good things.
Yeah, there's only 2 of us adults in the house, so it does limit our trick-taking options. You know, unless we trust our 5-year-old that much. Like,
Right. There's Diamonds. Mike Fitzgerald was at Dice Tower West last year. Diamonds.
Yes,
Yeah.
Diamonds is so solid. I love that game, especially for people who have never played a trick-taking game. I think that one's really a really approachable one because
Oh,
you know
nice.
you're trying to collect the diamonds and you have the actual like little player aid that says what you do if you pull a diamond or if you win a trick with a club or whatever. Yeah, I like that. And plus, it's just got that neat little. It's got like physical little diamond gem pieces
That's
that
cool.
you're trying to collect. Yeah, put them in your little safe. So yeah, I like to introduce new players with diamonds. I think that's a great trick-taking game.
nice. Okay.
Cool.
I haven't played it in a while, but I really love Niet.
Oh yeah.
Yellow picked that one up recently, or recently, like 5-ish years ago, maybe.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Time has no meaning these days.
Yeah.
But I think what's really neat about Niet is Niet's the Russian word for no, and so how it works is everyone's dealt their hand of cards, and then there's no specified trump suit. There's no specified. They have like a super trump or something they call it. There's no designated number of how many points each trick is worth. What happens is each person at the table, one at a time, puts a nope chip on something. So it'll say yellow, green, red, and blue are the 4 potential colors for like what's the trump suit this round. And one by one, people vote on which things to knock off. And so, how many points is every trick worth? Negative 3, 1, 2, 3, or 4, or something like that. And so you're like, I have a bad hand. I don't want every trick to be worth 4 points, so I'm going to knock that one off. Someone says I have a really good hand. They're not going to be worth -3. Someone says I have a handful of red cards. So I'm going to say yellow is not the trump suit. I'm going to try and make red the trump suit as much as I can.
I see.
And so one by one, you're voting, and then you create the rules for the round. Very clever. Very
Well,
clever.
that's cool.
That sounds like fun. I'm like,
Super
I
clever
wanna check
game.
that out now.
Yeah. It's got the super cute animal art, like the bears and all that. So
Even better.
Yeah.
yeah,
Right?
I'm on Amazon right now. Hold on.
Unfortunately,
Wait, you
I don't think there's any
don't like
cats
animals?
though.
Yeah. Man.
Julie, are you a trick-taking game player too?
Yeah, so the same kind of thing with, only like 2 of us mostly playing the games. It gets a little, there's a limit to the ones that we can play, but the Grandpa Beck's one, the Skull, oh my
Skull
goodness.
King. Skull King.
Yes. Yes. That one I've played several times and it's really fun. Fox in the Forest is a great one. That's why I was interested in Duet, because again, that 2-player and the twist on it just seems really interesting. But yeah, they're definitely a lot of fun. I've played Spades quite a bit as well.
Classic.
Yes, that classic.
Were you in prison, Julie?
Was I what?
Were you in prison? Is that why? It's like prisoners and military.
Yep. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Yeah, the Spades is really good. Yeah.
It is. It's fun.
I just came across this one. I think it was earlier. Again, I don't know concept of time, but it's either earlier this year or end of last year. Tricky Tides. That game, it's a really interesting combination. It's a trick-taking game with pick up and deliver.
Okay.
So yeah,
interesting.
it's you have these tiles and you set up your ships and you're trying to go from one place to another and you're playing tricks in order to move your ships and do actions. I played it once at Strategicon, our local con here in LA. I want to say end of last year, and then I just got a copy. I think we're going to stream it soon, but I'm looking forward to playing that one again because from what I remember, it was really fun and it was only like 40-minute game or so. But it's a pick up and deliver, but with trick taking.
Oh, okay.
That's
Very
interesting.
cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What is it called again? Ruel?
Tricky Tides.
Tricky Tides.
Yeah, Tides. Yeah.
I wrote all these titles down.
Yeah.
What kind
So,
of game
okay.
do you like, Arnel?
I'm more of a video gamer, to be honest with you. Yeah. So, well, Animal Crossing has been a big deal.
Yeah.
Tim is all about Animal Crossing, aren't you, Tim?
I have no clue. I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
Oh, yeah. It's just animals crossing the road. That's all it is, really.
Yeah.
I know, because I remember what I got from Julie. This is what I got from Julie. You walk around and you shake trees.
No, she's got it down.
Yeah.
That's it.
Is that it?
Pretty much. No, I mean, again, you got your little village, and you shake trees. Part of it.
I'm a fairly new board gamer too, so I'm kind of just learning. But we just started playing roll&writes. I believe.
I love that.
Yeah,
Very good.
Yeah.
I was surprised how different each one can be. It's
Yeah.
Which ones have you been playing? Oh, let's do a poll. So which ones have you been playing first, Arnel?
We did the first one I ever played was Welcome to the Neighborhood.
It's welcome
Welcome
to.
to.
Welcome
Oh,
to solid game.
Yeah.
That was
That's a
a
good one.
Yeah.
really
That's a
fun.
really great game. Ruel taught me that one.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
at Kingdom Con. Yeah, that
At
was a good
Kingdom
one.
Con,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right.
That's not
It's a fun
technically a
game.
roll and write though, right? Because there's no roll.
That's not a roll.
No,
Right.
no.
That's more
I'm
of
trying to
a
think what it's
Yeah.
called.
Flip and fill.
Okay,
Yeah.
Chris, I'm sorry, I had to say it.
What's the other one?
No, because we played it.
That one definitely. Had
It's the
dice.
one that has different versions of it, and our friend, he's so nice. We set it up. We were like 6 people trying to play, and I forgot the name of it now, but it's like that's clever or something like that.
Gosh,
Yeah. And our friend did like all the rolling for everybody because he's like we're on like
We're on
Skype or
Zoom.
whatever.
We're
Yeah,
on
we're in
Zoom.
Zoom.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay,
so we did stuff like that during the pandemic, and then we did some other stuff but they're not roll around like cartographers.
Another good. I love
Railroad.
Card. Yep.
I still need to try that one.
Railroad Inc. is without. Oh, so many good
Everything's
ones.
good, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I got-
that one was really fun.
I got so addicted. I got so addicted to that. Was it Ganshan Clever? The app. Remember when the app came out? I could not stop playing it, and I finally it was like ridiculous for like 2 weeks straight. And I finally said, once I get over 300 points, I'm going to delete the app. And not true to my word, I've not played it on the app ever since. I was like last
I
year.
did not know it was an app, and
Yeah.
I feel like that's dangerous for me.
Oh, I highly recommend it, but again, be careful.
Right, and when you get to limit, just delete it because you
Yep.
need your life back.
Yep,
Yeah.
totally.
So what are your favorites? Like Julie, what's your favorite?
Let's see. It's a tough one because right now, like I've been really into roll&writes since they're becoming more and more popular, right? It's feels like they're popping up everywhere. But I did really like Railroad Inc. I just think it's so awesome.
Mhm.
And the replayability obviously is always there, but it's just a really fun one to me. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, great game.
I feel like we took too long because we're like, okay, especially him, right? Artist.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, this gotta be
That's
perfect.
true.
Yeah, the real like
I tend to scribble on I will scribble. I will draw stuff.
Drawing a little train on the train.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I
Yeah,
would do
for
that.
sure.
Yeah.
And then we have like color pencils, and
Yeah.
we're like, oh, let's just hold on. And we're like, okay, no, we'll wait. And then our friend Athena, she's also an artist, so they do the same thing where they're just all of them are like super focused. Like, hold on, one more second. I need
Wait,
the
Arnel,
grass right
That's
around
so
the railroad.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Arnel, have you played Cartographers?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, did.
Yeah.
The one where you're making the map?
Yeah. Remember that's one
That was fun.
we
that would-
had negative things to
Yeah,
do.
that's right. That's right.
That'd
Yeah,
be a nice time to be a decent artist.
Yeah.
That's why that buddy of mine was like, "Here, let's play this game."
Yeah.
You just want me to draw.
And he's specifically bought like color pencil, like
He
nice
did.
color pencils
He did,
too, and
yeah.
like not
He did.
any kitty stuff. Like it was nice ones.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
I think it took us like 2 hours to play like one game, maybe an hour and a half. Because there's 4 of us, but everyone's trying to really focus on like because we're chatting, having fun.
Yeah.
But everyone's having like real nice squares.
Yeah.
And the good thing
Yeah,
about
my-
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was because my map looks pretty rough by the end of like
Yeah.
Is this a forest or an ocean? When did I draw here?
I mean, mine did too by the end, really. It's so crazy.
They're just like railroad shapes.
Yeah.
And the good thing about roll and writes is you can, like, we did it at Dice Tower West. I know we did it 2 years ago. Don't know if we did it this last year, but you can play like we did Welcome to, actually, with like 50 people, because we did it on a big screen and projected it. So they're really good for that. And like you said, you can do it over Zoom and stuff too. So
Yeah, that's the best thing about roll and writes, especially nowadays. Like Tim was saying, you can play. Some of them can be like unlimited players, and then as long as you're on Zoom or Skype or whatever, as long as one person does the flipping and stuff, everyone else can just do the filling. Or the writing. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you guys something, because about roll. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you going to say something, Julie?
Oh, I was just going to say this past weekend, one of the newer ones that I played with the Charity Board Gamer on his extra live stream this weekend, we played 5 for Finding.
Oh yeah, how'd you like that one?
It's so much fun. I watched you play it, Ruel, in your stream, and I was like, that game looks like a lot of fun.
I really like that one.
It was my first time to try it with the printout board at home, and so that was really fun. It's hard. It's really hard. But it's fun.
You think Haba, it's like, oh, kids game, and then you play 5 for Finding, it's like, oh my gosh, my brain's melting.
Yes, it's tough, but it was a lot of fun. It was a really
Is
cool
that the one? Is that the way you roll the dice and they're like different colors and you have to find a group of those colors on what looks like a word search from hell kind of a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's exactly it.
Yes.
Okay.
So the dice, it's called 5 for Finding. Like the number 5 is in the title. So you roll 5 die, and they have all these different symbols on them, different symbols, different colors. And then there are polyominoes, basically, that are on the board that represent, like, if you find it within a shape that looks like they almost look like Tetris pieces, right? So like a cross like this. If you find them all within that shape, then it's worth this many points. And so you're trying to find them within a time frame, those specific 5 ones that were rolled, 5 symbols that were rolled within any of those shapes to gain the points. And so it's like all the spatial recognition, but within the proper shape. And then because you can flip it or rotate it or mirror it or whatever, you can, like, you really need to look. And the better you are at recognizing all that stuff within that time frame, obviously the better you're going to do. And then I'm just staring and I'm like, I don't see anything. So it's like, but yeah, it's a lot of fun for sure. It's a great one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to try that then. Oh
man. It's really good. Yeah, it's from Haba. I think it came out earlier this year, but it's excellent game.
Well, let me ask you guys something about roll and writes, because one of the things that sort of the first time I played Ganshan Clever actually is the person who taught it. There were like 4, because it's a maximum of 4, but they had this 5-person variant because at conventions sometimes you just got to accommodate. So there were 5 of us playing. And they rolled the dice, and all of a sudden, like, I'm just learning, and I see, like, everybody's, like, doing stuff, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? What's going on? And it kind of made me anxious and sort of uncomfortable, and that's sort of my problem. I don't know what you guys, I'd like to hear what your thoughts about it are about some of the roll and writes. And again, not that I don't trust people or think people are cheating, but I just don't know what people are doing. You know what I mean? It's just so, and same thing with me. I've done things where, like with Ganshan Clever, they got some of the black things, already pre-printed, where I thought I marked it out, or it was marked, or something like, oh no, you didn't do that. That's just that. I was like, oh, I thought I did. So I make mistakes too. So does anybody else have that issue with roll and writes?
Oh, I definitely do that.
When we were playing online, again through like the Zoom meetings and stuff like that, we're trying to do it and stuff like that, and then at the end, everyone's like, "Okay, we're counting up points, right?" And you're like, "Wait a minute, those points sound like a lot."
Yeah.
And again, not cheating, but you just like miscounted,
misunderstanding the rules.
Yeah, misunderstanding the rules,
whatever it is.
So we were like, here, you can see it. They're like, wait a minute, that doesn't look right. It's like a -15. They're like, oh, I'm so sorry. So that definitely happened with us. And it's usually 4 or 6 of us, and we're all like taking turns, and we're like, no, everyone's score was wrong. Fun.
I think that's something that could be more designed around, because roll and write has become very popular, undoubtedly. Everyone and their uncle is like making one, so there's just so many, right? But I think one thing that's interesting is you see in some games they have little mitigating things like, oh, I put pieces in correctly because it was like it's one of those fast moving games, or it's easy to miss a little thing until scoring at the end. I think of two very different games. One of which is 9-Tile Panic, which is a tiny little game where you like real time flip tiles and try and make a little map. And I think of like a Feast for Odin, which is the opposite, very large, expansive game. But if you lay tiles in correctly and you don't realize it until 5 turns later or like the end of the game, they have a built-in like, minus, such number of points if you did something wrong. Mm-hmm. And I think that maybe more roll and write games need to keep that in mind, as part of the design of like, everyone's really excited. Oh, yellow 3, perfect.
Yeah.
Red 4, perfect. And at the end you're like, I put 2 of these things next to each other that shouldn't.
Yeah, especially through like the internet, because it's hard to be like, hey, what's the rule book say? You know what I mean? You just kind of be like, oh, that's fine. Whatever I heard, like let's not like nitpick, or because for us, like we definitely like to, you like to win, right, when you play. But at the same time, really, that's not the point for it at all for us. Like, we just like to have fun.
Yeah.
So, when you don't understand something, or you're like, what was that rule again? Like, instead of making that one person read, right, because they're the only ones that have the rules, like, we were just like, oh, whatever, that happens. So I think that's what makes it a little harder, because it's not, I can't just pick up the rule book and read it, and they can't do that either.
Right. But also, Chris, to your point, I think inherently one of the, I guess it's not necessarily a design flaw, but one of the things is because inherently in most roll and writes, everybody acts at the same time. So you really can't watch, you know what I mean? Because you're also, but that's why, like, one of my favorite ones, I don't know if you guys have ever played Dizzle.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, because that one you each do one thing at a time, and you need to look at what other people are doing so you can like, stop them or block them. So that's why I like that one the best, because of that in particular.
I was just going to bring up 2 examples. Number 1, Harvest Dice. That's roll and write, but it's dice drafting. So you're like taking turns. So I guess that's one. You take a die and then you fill in your little sheet, right? Mm-hmm. And then the other one, which I love Harvest Dice, but I really like a game called Steamrollers from Stronghold Games. It's basically it takes a 4x not 4x, a train game. 4x, a train game, like an 18xx train game, and distills it down to a roll and write. It's a 45-minute roll and write, and you're rolling dice, and one at a time you draft the dice that have the little train tracks on them, and you write the train track on your sheet. But then there's a central map that everyone shares, and you're trying to pick up and deliver goods on that central board, and by using your sheet, the tracks on your sheet. So it's a really interesting mix, and I think a lot of the roll and writes now that I enjoy too are ones where it's almost like multiplayer solitaire, where everyone, you roll and you just do your own thing, right? Whereas these 2 games, it's because it's drafting, or it's because it's dice drafting, you're sort of interacting a little more with the other players, maybe indirectly, but
Right.
Oh, so Arnel, I realized we never got more than 1 into your list of some of your favorite video games too.
There's a few.
There's a lot.
You're gonna get him started now.
Get me started.
So you've been playing quite a few lately, at least.
It's true. Just finished Ghost of Tsushima on the PS4. Excellent.
Oh, that game looks beautiful. How is it?
Yeah, I'm gonna platinum it. It's great. It's really fun to play. There's a lot of surprisingly enough, there's a lot of Zelda Breath of the Wild influence in the game. Very accessible. It's not like Red Dead Redemption, which is slow and plotting. Everything's really easy to do in Ghost of Tsushima. Where's my horse? Cool. Right there. It's really fun. The combat's great too. Yeah.
It's really pretty to the point where I was like, hey, can you play? I just want to watch you play and roam around. Sure, you're killing some people, yada yada, but it's still really pretty.
Yeah, it's a beautiful depiction of feudal Japan for sure. Yeah,
very cool.
And then Last of Us Part 2.
Last of Us, a big one, yeah.
Yeah.
It's heavy. It's a heavy game. Do we play it together? Because otherwise it'd be so anxiety-inducing that,
Well, wait, what do you, Arnel, so what do you mean by, heavy? Do you mean, like heavy emotional, or, what do you mean?
Yes. Yeah, he means emotional.
Yes, very. It's a very
Why?
very
What's
mature
the theme?
game. Actually, there's a lot of there's a lot of moral ambiguity in the game.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it
A lot of
takes place in a
violence.
post-apocalyptic world, Seattle to be specific, because of a crazy pandemic, which is
Right, yeah. There's like this whole disease thing that took out like everybody, and they're
Yeah.
trying to find a cure, and then it's part of the first one too, and then
It's one of those stories where the monsters aren't really the villains. It's other humans, like humanity.
Well, let me ask you something, because again, I don't play video games, but I know it was about maybe 2 or 3 years ago, a board game came out that somebody told me was a video game that was really heavy like that, and that was this War of Mine. Is that similar or no? Do you know what I'm talking? Anybody know? No?
no, I don't think
I've
heard of
not-
that one.
I've not played it, but I know people talk about it, that it's that same heavy type of experience where,
Yeah.
because we're not used to that in board games. We're used to like, move this red cube here. I have a pawn.
Yeah, right,
whatever.
right.
Yeah.
But
I
like
know,
you have like an event card comes up that's like, do you want to feed your child or feed this scientist who might help you cure something? And you're like, I don't
Right.
want to make that or those types of things.
Right,
So,
right.
I know Rado like raved about this War of Mine. He was saying it was a fantastic game, but yes, the board game was very heavy, like subject matter wise.
Yeah. What was it? What's the theme of it? Like, is it?
I think it's the same thing. I think it's post-apocalyptic, and like Kirk was saying, like, there's not a lot of food, and sometimes you have to make a decision. Like he's saying, do you feed the baby or do you feed the scientist who's going to find the cure, like and stuff like that. So, are video games more of that now? It's not just shoot them up and blow things up.
No, it's pretty. They're getting really sophisticated, I would say.
very
For sure.
story-driven stuff for video games, very much so. Their whole experience, their whole they try to I don't say push your buttons, but they definitely try to push your mind into what would you do, because there's a lot of video games where now, even before it was kind of a straight line, you're like, you have to go through these and everyone goes through the same path, and it's not like that anymore, where video games have different endings and different outcomes based of things that you do. Like Detroit was also a great video game. I think it was the PS4.
Yeah.
And there's so many different outcomes for that, because you play multiple characters and have multiple decisions. And so that's really what is popping or booming with as far as video games.
Yeah, there's philosophy involved, and existential crises for characters.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because we're both a lot more video game driven since we were both younger, really. That's kind of why, like, I want to do, as far as board games, I want to have these like mesh of like video game experiences and try to make them into a board game as much as possible.
Well, there's your girl Julie right there.
Yeah.
I think there's something neat about it. It's a whole new experience to try to venture, and then it's kind of like a game for yourself, because you're having to discover how to translate something that works completely different. There's like the analog and like this digital version can do more decisions for you than you can think about, right, as you're playing games. So having to translate that into something else more physical, it's interesting.
Yeah, I played Skytier. I'm not sure how it's supposed to be pronounced, which is like a board game version of a MOBA, basically. So like your League of Legends or things like that. And that was interesting to see it again interpreted into a board game where you have basically your lanes and your
cool.
Your nexus over here that you're protecting with the board game with the pieces, and they have like spawn rates and things like that when they come back. And so it is interesting to see that. So it's pretty cool to see again that crossover of like trying to take a video game and turn it into a physical board game experience.
Yeah.
Yep. But let me ask you, Julie. So, how close is the experience? Because again, since a video game is more a visual, right, and you have noise and all that kind of stuff, so you're maybe not, of course, not going to get the same experience. But how close was it to the video game?
It is. It's different. Like, it's very different because again, you don't get that like when you're playing League of Legends, for example, it's team against team, right? And you've got these different characters that you're controlling your one character and you're relying on your teammates to work together to get to the other team's base, basically. And so it can be very fast, like it can be very fast paced. You're trying to, again, work together quickly. And then the board game kind of just, it has a lot of the same elements, but it will slow that down a lot just because of that process of like having to take a turn or having to, do this type of stuff. So it is different. Not necessarily worse or better, I'd say, but yeah, it definitely changes things a little bit. But I think it's just, again, for me, the novelty of seeing that aspect of something being created that's really cool. Just something different. So
the limitations of a board game is a great challenge to like sometimes limits are great for creation.
Yeah, definitely.
There it is. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. That idea of like if someone says, write me a story.
Wow.
Okay, but if someone says, write me a story about someone who overcomes a challenge, you're like, oh, okay, that's the start. Like having that limitation, is good for that creativity. It's so interesting that way.
Yeah.
But what about, has anybody, so like again, since I don't know, but I know like XCOM, right, and Fallout. So those were a couple that I can think of off the bat that people have told me were video games that converted. Has anybody played those, and what was your thought on the similarities?
So I've played Fallout, the board game, because that's a big set of video games that we love in this house. And so,
but now wait, hold, Julie. Just from my understanding, Fallout is basically a shoot and blow up stuff, right? Kind of game.
Not really.
Not quite. No? Yeah, it's a little different. It's like turn-based as well. So you do your actions, and it is another post-apocalyptic world type thing where you're trying to survive. The idea is you're all living in these shelters, and now you need to find a water supply because your supply of water is running out, and you have to venture out there and try to find the water chip or whatever to get clean water. And so yeah, that turn-based aspect of it is a little different. You do have some combat in there when you encounter the monsters or whatever, but the board game is, again, the board game's different. It's a little slower in terms of like you make decisions and you have to take your turn. But it was fun. I mean, again, just seeing how they incorporate those decisions and those aspects of the video game into a board game is very clever. And so I do enjoy seeing that, just how well they do it. Because I really appreciate that. Again, the creativity and the cleverness of taking something and then making it work in another medium, I think is just really fun. So I did enjoy that. Seeing how they did it for Fallout was really cool.
I don't want to plug our game, but I will. That's what we're doing for our game.
Please do.
We were like, can we make Street Fighter as a board game?
Nice.
That's the whole idea, basically.
But with the
That's
same
awesome.
kind of kinetic feel of it.
Yeah.
You just kind of take hits. You gotta just keep going.
Yeah.
Do super moves and stuff. So that's funny.
Awesome.
That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to do
Right.
a board game.
Yeah, that's basically the idea of it.
Yeah.
Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, all those kinds of fighting games, and the equivalent of button smashing. That's like,
Right.
because that's basically half the time that I play it. I'm like, smashing.
Or just more aggressive play. Like faster
Right.
play.
No, that's what we're trying
Yeah. See, those games, for example, like they're so fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I die in 2 seconds in those types of games. So like, to see that turned into like a card game, that's interesting. That's really cool.
So I can die in 2 seconds in a card game. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
It's kind of like
you
that.
can die in the first round in our game.
Yeah.
Oh,
for sure.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's been interesting when we play with people because when I say it's a card fighting game, I think people have the mental idea of what a card fighting game is, of having your own deck, kind of be a little more strategic. And there's definitely strategy in the game, and there's enough of it where you could think for a long time and you could make special moves. But a lot of it is kind of a little lighter. There's not a deck per character. It's just a sharing deck.
You have a universal deck.
Yeah, it's a universal deck with a certain amount of blocks. You don't really have control of what you get. You kind of have to deal with what you have in your hand. So that kind of stuff has been really interesting to see people's reactions, and a lot of the time it's like, wow, this is super cool, and it feels like a video game. And when someone says that, I'm like, yes,
I know.
that's all I'm going for.
I know.
And there's so many different ways to pull it off. Like I think of there's some games that are video game adaptations where they have a timer, and so you just have to play fast because that's how video games tend to work. But then there's other ones. I think of Adrenaline, the CGE game, which is basically if you were to have like a big shooter arena. And so your character moves around, you can pick up ammo, you can pick up new weapons, you blast each other. There's very thematic weapons. Like there's one that can shoot right through walls, just across the whole map,
Cool.
Wow.
There's ones that are fast to reload. There's ones you have to that hit heavy, but you have to spend a lot of time grabbing more cubes around the board to reload them. And I think that is if you were to change the theme of it, it would function as a completely boring game about I picked up wheat and stone and I brought them over to here and I traded them for points,
Yep. That's such an underrated game. Adrenaline is so good. I don't know why it didn't take off. I feel like it's so good, and it's got, I don't know, does it have like a little area control to it, Chris? I'm trying to remember if it's, I know you have like the little, I don't know what they were called in the game. There's pieces on like each player's player board that you're trying to take away or something.
Yeah, so when you shoot someone, I have this type of gun. It'll do 3 damage. I put 3 little blood drops, boop, 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 of like my yellow color on someone else. And then when a person gets killed all the way, their health, you see who did the most damage to them, they get the most points. Who did the second most, they get the second most points. And then that character just respawns. They start at, full health, on the other side of the map, and then they have to run into the fray again. And it's just little things like that where like, this feels like a video game.
Totally does.
It's a nice, happy feel.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's super cool. I'll definitely have to check it out because I really like that translation and just having to figure out how other people did it, and because it's not just about feeling exactly like it or playing exactly like it, but just what it made you feel. It's just that the rush of it or the speed or whatever it is, like that's the part you have to capture, I think, when you're translating. And either way, from board game to video game and video game to board game, it's just catching that experience of playing that game.
Yeah, and I think because, again, it's literally been years since I played a board game. But I remember like the one I did play back in the day was Zelda, and you had to go through tunnels and, find whatever. And to me, that's why I guess that's just the closest I get to board games, because I don't know the shoot 'em up or the heavy stuff like you were talking about, Arnel, or all that. I just know like the follow paths, find stuff, and basically that's what kind of board games are, right? They're just puzzles.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a big video game coming out this year that was a board game, Cyberpunk.
Oh yeah.
2077. I think it was called 2044 when it was published as a board game.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Was it in the 80s or 90s?
I don't remember.
I don't remember the board game was published.
I think it was a contemporary of what's that board game? Syndicate?
I don't remember.
I can't remember. It's one of those big RPG games apparently, and they just made it into this giant video game. It looks crazy.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So they're going the other way.
Yeah.
It went the other way. I was like, oh, it's so cool.
Anytime a game has a year in it that's like 20 something, I always say 2112 because of the Rush album. Like, I really like that Pulsar 2112 game.
That's good.
It's funny. Yeah, you guys are so. See, I'm the old man of the group here. And talking like even right now, 2021. It's just you know what I mean. Like if you sit back and think about it, it does sound futuristic, right? Because like when I was growing up and they had like Twilight Zone, they would just show scenes from 1980 or 2000, like in the future, right? Yeah. But now to hear 2021, you're like, wow, that's like 2020.
Right around the corner now.
I know.
Well, I remember 1999. That was like way in the future. Remember that? That was like,
that was the Y2K.
Remember Y2K?
Crossing 2000s? Yeah.
Yeah. What's that? Remember what?
I remember
Will
last
2K?
year it was 2019, and Blade Runner takes place in 2019. You guys watched
Mhm.
That's right. Oh my gosh.
insane is that? You know?
They had,
Yeah.
they had to make a more futuristic Blade Runner.
Yeah, 49. And we're nowhere near those
It was
things.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is amazing to think how far though, like the technology has come. And you know what was surprising? I mean, I talking about the pandemic, right? It's going on now. I don't know how you guys felt, but I was shocked to find out that we didn't have the technology in 2020 to speed up a vaccine or a cure for like a disease.
Right.
I thought, you know what I mean? I just thought that I was like, okay, yeah, 2 months, we'll get a vaccine, we're set. No,
Right.
I didn't realize that. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had a thought on the. This is a bit of a humble brag, and also a bit on the topic of video game feeling board games.
Nice.
And it's a tie-in with Tabletopia. There you go. It's relevant to the show.
It's a full circle.
Well done.
So I got to demo Board Game Brothers, their game Hoop Gods.
Yeah.
The basketball, the 3 versus 3, or it's 2-player, but like 3 characters each.
Yeah.
And it was really good. It was really fun.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm
And
Yeah.
and it's quick, like even with teaching and learning it and playing on Tabletopia, which is always like, I didn't mean to click that,
Right.
hold on, wait, how do you spin this around, even with that, it was cool that it's quick. It feels like playing for me back in my childhood was like the Super Nintendo NBA Jam, or at the arcade.
Yeah.
It felt like that silly kind of, this isn't like a basketball recreation. It's, it's someone's going to go up there, make a big move. Someone's going to, they're on fire.
On
shoot the
fire.
three. And it was so fun. And I think those guys know what they're doing. So
Yeah.
it was really a great time.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
so
super
glad to
confident.
hear about that. I'm so glad to hear that because I really enjoyed Rap Gods and I love the theme of Hoop Gods. I'm a big basketball fan, and to have a game coming now from those guys, oh, so happy. What was like the mechanisms in that game, Chris?
So you have energy, but to be wonderfully thematic, they call it juice. You have a certain amount of juice you can use,
Nice.
And there's a little tracker. So the more moves that you want to make on a turn, you have to spend more juice out there. And then once you're done, it'll slide down. Some of like the first 2 spaces go right back into like ready to use juice. But the more that you go out, the longer it'll take to get that energy back. And so you're like, do I make a big move now? Do I make a small move? Hope they don't steal the ball from me, and then I'll have more juice next time to make a bigger move. And then anytime there's a conflict, I'm going to shoot, someone's going to block. You have a little dice roll off, and you see who can get the symbols that they need first. So it has that little. You plan it out like a board game, which is good, and then it has a small little like frenetic, I got to get the shot off.
Nice.
And so it's perfect. It's really good.
Nice. Oh,
Okay.
that's good. That's
would
cool.
would a non-sports fan enjoy it? Like, does it have enough of a basic game for a gamer where a non-sports fan would enjoy it, Chris?
Yes, I would enjoy it. In fact,
Right on. Cool.
Perfect example.
yeah, I was like, I don't know I know basketball. There's 3 of the key, so
Okay. Yeah.
I know that rule, and double dribbling, so and cross checking, right, and then
No,
touchdowns. So
that's
I'm
hockey.
Touchdowns and home runs.
Nice.
yeah. So I told him, I was like, hey, look, I get basketball. I'm not a big basketball fan, but I knew that I had to play this. I had to try it because they're a really good company. They make really smart decisions and stuff, and it didn't disappoint.
Nice. Good to
That's
know.
awesome to hear. Yes.
Yeah, it's very good. Was that at the Unpub this past weekend or the Nun Pub?
I played it with them like a week before that or something like that. Like they were doing some, I think they were doing a few play tested tweak things for Nunpub or Unpub, whatever it's called.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they were
and so-
definitely there.
Yeah. So, I mean, how cool is that I could just be like sitting in my living room and be like, I'm going to play this up and coming game that's going to smash it on Kickstarter, and I get to like demo it just in my pajamas at 4 in the afternoon.
That's the best way.
Have they showed off the art for the game at all? I don't remember seeing any art for it.
They did show some stuff, yeah, for sure. And then like I follow him, Omari, on Twitter and stuff like that. So he has been showing stuff like that.
Okay.
So that's been really nice. And I know their Kickstarter is in, I think it's October, maybe 21st or something like that. Shout out to them. But it's been some cool stuff for sure.
Hey, Marcus showed up.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, Marcus.
You're
Hey.
with Marcus?
I have been here the whole time.
Have you really?
Oh,
I am so sorry. You know what? I just saw your thing or heard it down there. I apologize, Marcus. I am so sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I wish you would have emailed me. Or I'm so sorry, Marcus. I was wondering where you were. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, here's Marcus.
Hi, Marcus.
Yay.
Yay.
okay. Let's start over.
Okay,
Take two.
I can delete everything up until now.
Yeah.
that's right. For the last 20 minutes, it's all about Marcus. So, Marcus,
Yeah, Marcus,
again,
you talk.
I am so sorry. Do me a favor and introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are, what you do, and I've got something I'm going to bring up here.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Marcus Ross. I'm a board game designer. My company's Waterbear Games. We made the games Discount Salmon, Bees, and Let Her Go. Otherwise, I work on just board game projects. I'm currently doing a guest design scenario for Frosthaven, and I'm just doing whatever I can to help out in tabletop.
Oh, your logo is adorable.
I
Yeah,
know.
right. Oh my gosh.
We need a plush of that.
Yeah.
So
Let me
there's
make
Mark.
Find a way to make
pillow.
Just the merch.
And which of these games are yours, Marcus?
Discount Salmon is published. Bees is published. Kingmaker's a prototype. Cat Quest was our first game. That's a prototype.
Okay.
Not on Pretzel we did for a convention and Acquires by Sid Saxon, but we made some cards for it. So
Oh, interesting.
Oh, very
yeah,
good.
that
Okay.
game's
That's super
very
cool.
old. Oh wow, look at
Yeah, that echo.
Yeah,
Wow,
and so
that's
Marcus is in Nebraska, correct?
I am, yes, Omaha, Nebraska.
Yes.
So
Oh,
I
good.
don't think anybody else is from there.
No.
I actually know the Jordan Hopper, and I think isn't Our Family Plays Games from
I was
Omaha?
just gonna bring them up. Yeah, the
yeah,
Fit
yeah,
Fest.
yeah.
Nice.
They're operating out of Omaha too. So
Yeah,
I
Jordan
know them
Hopper's
pretty well.
with the No Cube Zone podcast, and he's friends with Mick and Starla. So cool. All right.
Yeah,
Hey, you've got some
I
friends then.
know McStarlin Grant pretty well.
Cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
They're-
and I'm going
they're-
to tell you something
they're awesome.
really cool about Marcus. So this is really, really cool because he is actually so Frosthaven, right? The everybody knows Frosthaven, Gloomhaven. Marcus is designing one of the campaigns that opens up and all that kind of stuff. So Marcus, go ahead and tell everybody about that.
Yeah, show off.
Yeah.
Yeah, how many water bears do I get to fight?
There is going to be there's like 30 guest designers, and I'm one of them. So I'll be designing one scenario for the players to go through. I've got most of it written, but it's kind of all under wraps right now. But yeah, it's fun playing with Isaac's box of toys. So I'm like cautiously optimistic it turns out good.
Yeah, because I remember the last time I talked to you, you said it was coming close to the deadline for your initial draft. I think it was. Did you got that done? I'm sure, right?
Mostly. It is sitting in my basement in parts, and I'm like, okay, I got to bring it all together and then get this off. But yeah, it's still something I'm working on, and Isaac's being patient, but I don't think it's going to last forever.
Right. Well, that's fantastic, though, Marcus. I'm so glad that's coming along. Have you been getting a lot of play testing in with it?
Not as much as I'd like, but doing all right. So continue. Where were we? I heard you guys were talking Hoop Gods. I haven't had a chance to play that one yet.
Oh, it's so fun. It's so fun. And so we were talking about how a lot of people are getting to play test games in ways that they normally couldn't. So I don't know if your thing is something you could put up on Tabletop Sim and be like, hey, here's the top secret thing. Who wants to look at the top secret?
Don't tell anybody.
For a few hours.
I had to sign NDAs and everything. It's like, oh, okay, all right, that's fine. But I've got my own playtesters, and they can play it, so
That's
Oh,
awesome.
nice.
good enough.
That's good.
And what about games? What do you got? Any like new games coming out soon, Marcus?
I don't have anything coming out soon, and all the games I want to play, I have no ability to bring people into my house, so I'm just kind of collecting a stack of things that I'd like to get to.
Yes, I
What
know.
about, what about solo games, Marcus? Do you solo game at all?
I have not. It seems weird to me to like set up a whole game. I'm gonna play this by myself. If it's anything more than a roll and write, I'm thinking that's a lot of parts. That's a lot of effort. But I can see how they could find it appealing, especially now where it's just pretty much a puzzle you play by yourself.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I love solo
Yeah.
gaming. That's
I
how
feel
it's-
like I need to do that more.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. It's like Marcus was saying, it's like a puzzle that you're doing, instead of like a jigsaw puzzle, you're doing a puzzle that's a game, right? And that's actually sort of how I got into the hobby 5 years ago. Was I bought the game Pandemic, and I played with my wife, and she wasn't really into it. She didn't really take on with her, but so I just played it by myself for like 20 times. I was like, I love this game, and that's what led to other games into my collection.
That
Once
was
that
the gateway.
that was my gateway right there. And now, who would have known 5 years later we would actually be living in a pandemic? But
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Who would have known?
Yeah, no
It's a different skill set entirely to design one of those.
exactly right.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and release some top secret. Just what's today? Today's Thursday. On Monday, Tuesday, Monday, I think it was. I just interviewed Matt Leacock. So
Really?
he'll be
Nice.
yeah. I'm about 3 weeks out, so he'll be coming up soon. So yeah.
You
That's
are-
a really cool guess.
Yeah, I
Like,
was gonna say,
we
Tim,
don't
you
want
are
to-
crushing it with the guests. I just saw the Jamie Stegmeyer one went up today
Yeah,
or
I saw
yesterday,
that.
and
Went up today. Yeah.
yeah, and of course, you had the good doctor Knizia on that
Yeah.
right there. I was like,
Elizabeth
yeah,
Hargrave.
Margaret,
Oh,
yeah.
I know. I was so
Hard-
surprised
yeah,
they got
Elizabeth.
back to me. So yeah, that was really nice. So
that's
yeah,
amazing.
And then Elizabeth Hargrave. And speaking of that, Matty Pulsis is coming out tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Who's tried it? Anybody?
Oh, I
Yeah,
haven't. It
yeah,
looks
yeah.
really cool, though. It looks
Yeah.
super pretty.
Yeah, we just got it in today. So be excited to play that, to give that a try.
Yeah.
And now we're interviewing Marcus. We got all the big heavy hitters,
Oh yeah.
That's right. That's right. Well, I know Marcus has got to come on too. So we got that too.
That's awesome. Marcus, I see that you got your like deluxe copy of Pandemic up there. Was that
Yeah.
like a gateway game for you, or is that something you discovered later?
Actually, probably my gateway for this version of the hobby was Forbidden Island. So Pandemic came
Nice.
very quickly after that, and I was like, oh, okay, I see. We need to do more of this. But yeah, I picked this up right as the pandemic was starting to have something to be in the background of my Zooms. So,
Oh, there you go.
Also for tips, just in case.
Yeah, Marcus wanted to be the cool kid. Oh, I got
There
it.
you go.
it's like maybe they won't look the rest of the stuff on my shelf if this draws attention.
Yeah, and I'm sorry again, Marcus. I'm sorry, but Arnel up there is a fantastic artist. So if you're ever looking for art for any of your games, you got somebody right there to do some art for you.
The cat is the example back
I
there.
know.
Very nice.
Ferocious
So
kitty.
good.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So one of the things I don't know, because we were talking about what he's been playing lately. So one of the things I'm looking forward to, and I'm probably going to ask Ruel, because since Ruel plays about 17 games a day,
Pretty much.
Seems that way.
I think the only thing he doesn't do is sleep.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
I know. Have you played Tekenu or Tekneknu or
Oh yeah, it's the next step. It's the next one after Teotihuacan, right? It's
Correct. Yes.
I want to say it's Teknu or whatever. Yeah, I'm in talks with Board and Dice. I forget the gentleman's name, but they're supposed to be sending that along with a couple of others. So that one I'm looking forward to.
Nice.
Yeah, that one I'm looking forward to. The Italian dice game designers. I forget all their names, but they do that whole series, Zolkin and stuff like that. The
And
game.
David Terzi actually helped with this
David
one,
Terzi,
too.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. So that one, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. You know what? A game that I was totally not on my radar, but it came onto my radar this last weekend was this silly party game called Herd Mentality from Big Potato Games. We had so much fun with it. I played it with Suzanne Sheldon, a bunch of other people at the UK Games Expo last weekend. And I loved it so much. We played it on my stream on Monday. I got a copy, and Michelle, Lauren, and I played with our viewers, and it's such a fun game. It's like a cross. If you ever played Blank Slate, it's a cross between Blank Slate and a trivia game. So it's very easy to play over Zoom, where you ask a question, and everyone writes their answer on a piece of paper or on a whiteboard. You reveal at the same time. If you are in the majority, if you have followed the herd, then you all get 1 point. If you are the oddball out, then you get this thing called the pink cow, and it's a pink cow. It goes to you. You cannot win while you have the pink cow. I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's just that's how it is. So you just go on until someone's collected 8 points, and that's it. It's very simple, but I feel like it's the perfect game for Zoom or Skype or whatever.
Right.
Very simple. It's a party game. I'm looking forward to. We're going to probably play it with my family online this weekend. That game was so much fun. So Herd Mentality, Big Potato Games, they do party games, simple party games, but I always have a good time with them.
Yeah,
So,
they do. Really good.
Yeah.
So Ruel,
Yeah.
what was the UK Gaming Expo like then? Did you participate in any other online events or anything?
No, I just sort of poked around. I just checked they had gameplays and stuff. And honestly, because it was UK, so they asked me to come on a live stream. I was like, cool, yeah, I'm happy to do it on Saturday. And
3 a.m.
right? Thank you, Chris. I was like, oh, yeah, y'all are in the UK. So it was like they were saying, yeah, 3 p.m. And I was like, yes. And it turned out to be 8 a.m. this time. So Suzanne and I were both on the West Coast, and you could tell we were, still. Well, I was a little sleepy-eyed there.
Right.
Yeah, but it was from what I saw, it was like the other virtual gaming conventions that have been held, where you have different gaming events, you have demos through Tabletopia and other websites. So yeah, and then they had panels, and then they had the live playthroughs with us and stuff. So it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
That sounds awesome.
There was a lot of events happening last weekend as far like non-pub, and there was the UK, and there was a couple other ones that I can't remember now.
Yeah.
But it seemed like everyone was split in like board gaming stuff everywhere, and
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
was back and forth.
Like
Yeah.
Julie was saying, she was in the what'd you say, Julie? Because Crystal did the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, it was the Stream for Extra Life.
Extra Life.
So Chris, the
Yeah.
charity board gamer, was doing an event. So
Yeah, I saw whatever.
Real quick, I'm sorry, guys. I just remembered. So Crystal couldn't make it tonight. But we had a thing last night. So Marcus and Estefania and Arnel, because these other guys know what Crystal was doing during her stream is she was going to punch Gloomhaven.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Before I reveal what we were talking about, Marcus, I want you to go first, and then I'm going to ask Estefania and Arnel. Marcus, I had the over/under at 2 hours, 120 minutes. Would you take the over or the under for punching a brand new copy of Gloomhaven?
Oof.
Oh my!
We've seen the books, remember?
How long did you say?
It was 2 hours was the over/under, so you either pick
So
over,
2
or you
hours.
pick over.
All right. So clarifying questions. Do you have to organize it so it goes back inside the box?
Well, as a matter of fact, she did. I don't know if because she said she had an organizer. I don't know if she built it ahead of time or whatever. But no, just basically just punching, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, and maybe putting it back in the box, I guess. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm gonna take the over. Like,
You're gonna take the over, okay?
you have to,
Okay.
you have to categorize the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Arnel, Estefania.
I'm gonna go with Marcus because he's way more experienced than I am with this.
I know. I want to say under only because I'd be like, it's ridiculous. Over 2 hours, like that's insane. But I've seen the box.
That's why. That's why I'm
like,
like, yeah.
We picked it up like with our friend who does our like gaming nights. Like
It's-
he buys all kinds of stuff all the time.
It's hefty.
And it's gonna be over, but I'm just gonna go under just for the sake.
All right.
Just be different.
And then I think Chris, right? You were the only other one who went under.
I was alone under, yes.
Yeah.
We're together. I feel ya.
Okay. So 2 hours and 2 minutes.
Ooh. Wow.
Do you remember what I said, Tim? Last week I said 2 hours and 1 minute. That was
Oh,
my
did you?
Yeah.
that was my
What?
guess.
Yeah.
And it was
Wow.
you were good.
Price is Right rules.
Right? Because I think
Yeah.
I think you started out at 75 minutes. I think you
Yeah.
said it somewhere around there, and then
Yeah.
we kept talking
We
about
kept
it.
talking. Yeah.
Mhm.
The line kept moving. The people
It
have
did, it
spoken.
did.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
We were right there, though, right?
Wow. I'm still
That's
blown
crazy.
away by how long that takes.
It
Yeah.
felt close.
Well, that was the
Yeah.
perfect over under then. Dang.
Yeah.
I think it
Yeah,
was.
that was awesome.
Look at Marcus. He had almost, had a brain hemorrhage thinking of
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like as a bookmaker, that's what you want. You want half the people, betting over. You want half the people betting under. That way you get the juice. Not that I have any
Yeah.
experience with this, but from what I've read and heard.
Yeah.
So, Marcus, if you don't mind, I had a question for you. So you're a game designer, you said. How did you also decide to come up with your own company then? Because those are two very different beasts.
It was kind of accidental. So, well, no, I guess that's not true. We first were going to be a web company, actually, that would host games for print and play and for prototyping. Didn't go that direction. Decided to just make our own games. And our first game was Discount Salmon. We won the Cards Against Humanity tabletop deathmatch. So the prize for that was they delivered the first print run of the game to my house.
Oh.
From that, I had to do fulfillment. I'm thinking, I do not want to be sued personally if something goes wrong. So I'm going to make a company, a real one, and start shipping these games out. My games after
Smart.
that, I sold. So we sold Bees to Indie Boards and Cards, and we sold Let Her Go to WizKids. So
Oh, nice.
they can do all the distribution and fulfillment, and
Smart.
we just take in the royalties.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
that's the best way.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because fulfilling your own stuff is nightmarish.
Teach us everything you
Good luck
know.
to all of you.
Yeah.
Teach us
All of
everything.
you that do that. It's
Yeah, because
a lot.
your background is IT, right, Marcus? That's why you wanted to start the web company at first, you said?
Both me and my cousin who runs a company with me, we're both developers. So she does front end web stuff, and she does our website, and I do back end for Blue Cross Blue Shield. So
Nice.
Hey, can you
No
give me some
computers.
free insurance, Marcus?
Absolutely cannot. If only.
Right.
Because I can use it. So we're getting pretty close. It's almost about 1 hour and 30 minutes. We're almost there. So Marcus, and again, I apologize. This thing, I'm still new to StreamYard here, and because I even had when I was on Ruel's show, he taught me a couple of things that I'm still trying to learn. And tonight, I did the screen sharing for the first time. So I am really, really sorry. But now I see what it is. I got a little slider that showed up where if somebody comes under, because just us five were that fit, and you were below the thing, and I just never saw your screen.
It's okay.
Yeah, so I'm really sorry about that. So what I want to do is I'm going to go over everybody's real quick. I don't have your screens anymore. Sorry, I should have kept them up there, but I got rid of them. I'm learning for next time. But I want to go ahead and start with you, Marcus, if you could. So we're just going to kind of close out. I'd like you to tell everybody, again, who you are, what you do, and everywhere anybody can find you online, website, Instagram, all that kind of stuff, okay?
All right. Marcus Ross again, board game designer for Water Bear Games. It's just me and my cousin, Kara. You can find us at waterbeargames.com. You can find us on Twitter at waterbeargames. I'm also at Marcus Ross on there if you want to get to me directly. That's the best place to get a hold of us. We do have a Facebook. We kind of look at it every now and then. And that's kind of our footprint for the web.
Yes, and we're all excited about your Frosthaven campain there.
Yeah.
No
Exciting.
pressure, but everyone is excited about it.
There might be a checklist taped to my door of things I need to do about that. So
It's it looks long.
Yeah. All right.
I'm just going
And,
to hide
Julie?
it so no one knows.
So again, I'm Julie. I have a Facebook and Twitch stream under Kawaii Plays. And my Instagram for board games is Geeky Board Gamer, so check me out on there. I have a Twitter as well at Kawaii Plays, but I'm not as active there, so if you guys help me out a little bit, maybe I can definitely be more active, because I don't understand all of the social medias sometimes or how to use them properly. So, that's the one that has kind of fallen to the wayside a little bit, but yeah. Definitely check all of my social media out. I love interacting with all of you guys. So thank you.
Great. James Brown. I'm sorry. I mean, Ruel.
I still feel good.
That's
Nice
good.
job. Nice job.
I am Ruel Gaviola. I just updated my little name tag there. You can find me at Ruel Gaviola on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram is Gaming with Ruel. You can find me on Facebook. I do a stream on Twitch with my family called Tabletop Tonight. We also have a Facebook page there. I do stuff with Renegade Game Studios. And actually, I'm going to show this real quick. I just got this literally in the mail earlier today. This is
Ooh.
Raiders of the North Sea collector's box. So I'm going to be doing an unboxing next week with Renegade Game Studios, and I'm going to unbox it. It has sleeves, custom sleeves for the game. I'm going to rebox the base game and both the expansions back into that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Please join me for that. That's going to be on Renegade's Twitch channel. I'm also on a podcast called The Five By. We've got a new episode coming out. Is it next Wednesday? Shoot, I got to record my segment. But anyways, please come by, check out the 5 by podcast. That is 5 different reviewers reviewing 5 different board games, and our reviews are 5 minutes each. So it's like the perfect time to listen while you're doing the dishes, right? Instead of a commute to work, wash your dishes with our podcast. And I will throw it on to the next one. Thank you, Tim.
All right, Chris, go ahead.
All right. Oh, I didn't think of it cleverly changing my name. So everywhere that people can find me on the internet, what's my old Club Penguin password?
Are you on Friendster?
Oh my god. Oh my gosh.
So my wife Wendy and I do the podcast together called Meeple Overboard, half-hour podcast every Saturday. And so you can find us on Twitter at Meeple Overboard, Instagram at Meeple.overboard because it was already taken. And I think we have a Facebook page. I check seldom. So yeah, and then also CNC Board Game Factory, another sideshow podcast that I do with my friend Cam from the Board Boys podcast.
Oh, perfect. All right, Estefania.
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at Estefania R88. That's really where I'm most active. If you want to find out about my game, it's called Popcats Fighter. That's on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. And yeah, just feel free to follow me on Twitter. I love to meet new people and be active there. So thank you for having me too.
All right, and Arnel.
Hi. Yeah, be sure to check me out on Instagram. It's at the NinjaBot. That's also the same thing for Twitter and Facebook, actually. I also have a website, theninjabot.com, and you could find all my art there. You could buy some enamel pins, all that good stuff. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, good, fantastic. Well, thank you all so much for joining us again this week. This is absolutely fantastic. And Marcus, I'm sorry, I feel so bad. I just
So next week, it'll
Come
be
back
just
next
Tim
week.
for an hour, and then the rest of us will come in the last half hour.
There you go.
It'll be fair. It'll be fair.
Yeah.
It'll be fair.
Yes, but now I know exactly what to do, and I apologize, Marcus. I feel so bad. But thank you for coming. I'm glad you showed up. So
Oh, yeah, no problem.
yeah, and please
No
come back
problem.
again. I'd love you to be a part of it, because actually, just so you guys know, it was originally Marcus, Nick and Starla, and for Tessa, and for Tessa, she'll be here next week too. I spoke to her. So yeah, so I'm glad Marcus is here, because he was one who originally was going to do this with me. So good. But again, thank you guys, and everybody have a wonderful week. This is going to be going up tonight, and so make sure I'll set you the links and all that kind of stuff, so you can put it on all your social media and spread it around out there. And have a wonderful weekend, and hopefully we'll see you all next week.
Yeah, thanks for
Awesome.
having us.
Yes, thank you so much,
Bye.
guys. It was
Stay
nice talking to you.
safe.